Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today. Sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram, he's at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we're talking Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 30. And I can't wait, y'all. We're almost done with the shenanigans of this season. We are almost done with the producer interference of this season. We are almost done with the disaster background checks, or lack thereof, production did and casting did this season. Because after tonight's episode 30, y'all, I believe there's only 6 more episodes left, or 6-ish. Because if it's slated to end next Sunday, that means we only have episodes coming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, right? So technically that's 5, but 6 if you watch After Sun. I didn't bother watching this After Sun because it was given propaganda, it was given BS, and everything else, and I didn't have time. So, this episode, we start off, it's still nighttime, still night time, you know, after that challenge, that crash out challenge, and we get a conversation with Huda and Chris, and I'm a little confused. It's giving, like, I don't know, it's weird, right? So, Huda and Chris are sitting, and Huda's like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out why nobody else kissed me. And Chris is like, why would anybody do that? And she's like, well, we're not closed off. Girl, what? What? Listen, Huda fans, listen. I don't see this working on the outside. I do not. I think Huda misses Jeremiah. I'm just going to keep it a buck with y'all. I'm going to keep it a bean with y'all. She misses Jeremiah, y'all. Because I can tell with Huda, even though she begged from things for Jeremiah and stuff to do, I feel like there's like a delay with Chris, and she's trying to put on him like what she wants to happen, what she wants to do, all this, all that, and he's like, wait, what? Wait, what'd you say? Well, what that mean? And then he tries to, like, you know, adapt. And I don't think that's going to work in the real world, you guys. I don't think that's going to work in the real world. But I feel like Chris and Huda haven't been a couple that long. Like, y'all only been in a couple since Casa Amor. Casa Amor just barely ended a couple weeks ago. Like, what progressing are you talking about? And secondly, why are you wanting anyone else to kiss you? And you just had this big scandal with what happened with Ace at the heart rate challenge. Make it make sense. Everybody turned that whole situation into a Huda versus Shelly situation. But if you paid attention to Chris's body language, he was not happy either. He just had the wherewithal to shut up. He had the wherewithal to shut up and not say nothing, right? So he doesn't get his behind kicked out the villa as well. But nonetheless, he was not happy with any of that, right? And he's all but admitted on several occasions that he has settled for Huda because he preferred Shelly. He wanted to get at Shelly, right? Although he fumbled himself by not continuing the conversations with Shelly, right? However, after all of the drama that went down between Huda and Shelly, Huda, why would anybody kiss you in a challenge right now? After all the smoke that just happened with the heart rate challenge, come on now. And again, it's this notion she has to be the hot commodity. She has to be the person that is sought after. And I don't think Huda realizes that she's been a mess. She has been a mess. Adrina is saying that Huda spent like 10 minutes slamming doors, breaking stuff in the girls' room, that she is still crashing out, and basically production's hiding it. And production, that's not a good look. For y'all to be hiding Huda's problematic behavior, all because y'all trying to give her a redemption arc. No. Roll the tapes. So another episode, it looks like movie night's not happening this season because they already alluded to from After Sun that we're going to get the Meet the Parents episode and they're actually flying into Fiji. So it's giving, we're just going to scrap movie night because I feel like it's too late now. And I feel like at this point, the main culprits are no longer in the villa for there to be an impact of movie night. So nonetheless, epic fail. So we get to the nighttime and, you know, Amaya, she is giddy about her kiss with Brian. I'm still not sold on him. I'm sorry. I'm still not sold. Here's my thing. Here's my biggest issue. I feel he was more initiative with the physical attraction, with the kissing, with he was with Adrina at Casa Amor. I don't see that being replicated with this Brian in the villa, and it has nothing to do even with the Amaya being most popular, right? It has everything to do with every time they've kissed, he has been in a neutral stance. He has been socially distanced away from Amaya, and Amaya is the one that is coming to him to kiss him. She is the one that is pulling him forward to kiss her, and all of this and all of that. And, you know, he may like it and stuff, but I'm just skeptical, right? I'm just skeptical. I'm going to need to see how he moves on the outside for me to take him seriously. So then nighttime, y'all. You know, we kind of get a glimpse of everybody and we get a little, you know, Sierra message. Her and Nick are still in the bed, but they're like separate, right? And we get a, you know, morning, right? It's morning, right? Good morning, right? And we see the girls getting ready in the girls' room, right? And we see Sierra in the background getting ready as well, right? But there's no Sierra scenes. There's no Sierra beach hut confessionals. None of that. No. So basically, Taylor has the big idea. He's like, listen, look here, Ace. I want to put together a morning breakfast date for Clark. And I was like, really? Let's Clark it. Let's Clark it. Clark that tea, you guys. Look at that. Look at Taylor knowing how to put together a date and not at the influence of Ace having to do so. And this is what I'm talking about, y'all. A man is going to let you know and show you if he is interested. And this is night and day from Taylor's behavior with Alandria. And that was all I was trying to say. No, I don't think that Taylor is colorist. No, I don't think Taylor is anti-black or anything like that. I just think, for whatever reason, he was intimidated by Alandria. He said that he felt like he had to be on his P's and Q's. He felt like he couldn't be himself. He couldn't relax. He was stressed out, but he feels like with Clark, he could be a kid. He could feel like it's easy. He could feel like they can just banter and have a good time, right? So nonetheless, Amaya then starts distracting Clark because Ace is running around the villa like Roadrunner, y'all. Like remember the cartoon Roadrunner, right? He is running around all back and forth trying to get everything set up for this date. Amaya is asking Clark, what is your favorite type of date setup? And Clark is talking about a picnic. So they're trying to do like a mock picnic outside and everything else and cooking breakfast and having all the things. It is cute. Pepe, meanwhile, as well, is cooking breakfast for all of the girls. He's making cute little designs with the breakfast, I think it was making waffles today that said Love Island USA Season 7. So all the men are bringing up the ladies' breakfast. And then we have Ace. He has on a jacket, y'all, pretending to be a waiter. And then finally, when everything's ready to go with Taylor, they get some flowers, everything else. He then escorts Clark down to the date. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it was cute. And then they didn't have any water, and Ace had to run around like Roadrunner again to get the water. I liked Ace this episode. I thought Ace was enjoyable. He was not Ace the hardware store tonight and everything else, but he was very much enjoyable. He seemed like he was having a good time and everything else, y'all. So nonetheless, we have a conversation with Pepe and Iris. It's giving, you guys, it's giving widows. It's giving widows trauma bonding. I don't buy their connection at all. I think the moment that this thing is over, they are calling TJ, they are calling Hannah as quick as possible, right? I'm not seeing a situation where they're going to make the final, because I feel like even if America does vote for them, I feel like the Islanders, when they get their own like least compatible vote or whatever else, whatever that final vote is before we get to the final four, I feel like they're going to get Iris and
Pepe up on out of here, right? Because that was what Nick and Sierra were plotting on the last episode, was plotting on their demise, right? So, because they're one of the most recent couples. So they have a conversation, Then it's like Amaya Island, y'all. It is Amaya Papaya Island. It is Papaya Island everywhere. Everybody is requesting Amaya for an interview, y'all. Everybody's like, listen, I need to talk to Amaya because I need to stay in this villa. So we get an Amaya and Zach conversation. He's up here talking about something. He's up here copping please, y'all. He's like, after some reflection, I realized I didn't like where we left off. I feel that we should try again. And Maya's like, no. And then we get out of nowhere, Elon, right? Elon, who has been white on rice to Sierra this entire time, bro. Now all of a sudden is like, listen, look here, I'm into Dominican food, right? I'm into whatever your favorite food is, my favorite food. No, get him out of the villa, y'all. I am tired of these men. All of a sudden, y'all find out Amaya Papaya is popular, and now all of a sudden, y'all want to couple up with her, but previously, y'all were listening to whatever Austin said that was about Amaya, whatever Ace said that was about Amaya, everything else. And even Zach's complaints about Amaya is how she was too intense, she was too much, she cried all the time, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And now that y'all know that she's like, now y'all are scheduling interviews with her. Nope. To be honest with you, I think Amaya should choose nobody, but unfortunately, you have to be coupled up with somebody. So she also talks to Brian again on the docks. They have a kiss. Again, I didn't like it. It was cute once the kiss happened, but I didn't like, again, Amaya had to grab his face and pull him in for the kiss. And I'm just like, Amaya, girl, no. No! I just want these men to be a little bit more, taking the initiative, right? And it feels like Amaya's taking all the initiative. So the hard part for me is to discern whether or not it's genuine on the man side of things. The difference is that with Ace and with Austin and with Zach K is they immediately called it out. They immediately was like, listen, I'm not into affection. Listen, immediately, this is not how I roll, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I feel like Brian is being nice, right? And I don't know what his true intentions are. I know they're both Dominicana and everything else. I get it. But I don't know, y'all. So I'm still not sold on Brian. I'm sorry. I'm not sold on him. I'm going to have to see how he moves on the outside. That's just my opinion, right? That's just my opinion. It might be an unpopular one, but I'm just looking at his body language and I'm looking at how Amaya has initiated everything, and at Casa, he initiated everything with Adrina. Adrina did not have to lift a finger as it pertained to Brian at Casa Amor. And then the switch flipped when they got to the villa and he was like, oh, Adrina is boring, right? And it's like, okay. Then we get a conversation, y'all, with Ace and Shelly. We got a conversation with Ace and Shelly. They're talking about their upbringings, and actually it was a really nice moment. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I have a feeling this reminded me of Justine and Caleb's conversation about Justine's upbringing in a previous, this is back in season 2. And it felt like Ace and Shelly have had this conversation before in an earlier episode, like a week 1 episode, and it was edited out because the focus in was on Jeremiah and Huda at the time. So I feel like they're revisiting this conversation because they have to introduce this conversation to us, the audience, because we don't know anything about, at least on Shelly's end, we didn't know too much about her upbringing and her, lifestyle and everything else because they never showed us that conversation. Right? We know a little bit on Ace's end, but we never really did on Shelly. So I felt like they were like, okay, it's the last week. We got to reintroduce yourself to these couples because we focused in all on Jeremiah and Huda the first couple of weeks. So now we got to reintroduce everybody. So I thought it was cute, right? So I think around the 15-ish minute mark, y'all, the host makes an announcement that Sierra is no longer in the villa due to a personal issue. No. Can we talk about what it is? Did y'all tell the Islanders? Did y'all ship her out? Like what happened, y'all? Did Secret Service have to come in and escort her out the villa? Like what is going on? Why is this happening? So the men are all gathered around and having a conversation, and Nick is all like, I'm distraught. This is my strongest connection in the villa, da-da-da-da-da-da. And again, y'all, I've been seeing the show since season 1. I've seen the UK show. I've seen Australia. I've seen all these franchises. If you wanted to, you will. If you wanted to leave, if this is such a strong connection, Hannah, you would have left with Charlie. If this is the strongest connection, Pepe, with Hannah, you would have left Pepe. If this is such a strongest connection with TJ, Iris, you would have left with TJ, right? Spare us the foolishness, right? Because we saw in season 5, whether it was true her detriment or not, she eventually found out, effed around and found out, KK left with Keenan, even though it made 0 sense because the votes indicated that we liked you, KK. We liked you, and we were hoping for a bombshell to come in for you because you would have been guaranteed a final spot. You would have been guaranteed a finale spot because that was back then. That was back when everybody was still rooting for everybody black and still trying to get the black women in these finals, right? But I feel like there's a switch up this season. But nonetheless, you know, that happened. And then also Love Island USA season 3. That was the season that Olivia and Corey won. Shout out to Olivia. I think she's pregnant. She announced her pregnancy. So there was a moment, though, where Shannon and Josh, they made an announcement to the group. They were like, listen, looky here. I'm about to be about this villa. I'm about to be about this villa because, unfortunately, his sister passed away. Love Island UK, I want to say it was season 8. It was the season of Dami in India. There was somebody, Jacquees, who basically some stuff had came out about him, about his beliefs and his viewpoints, and they got him up out that villa, y'all. They got him up out that villa. He made an announcement, right? Also, but nobody went with him, right? Nobody left with him, right? And also on Love Island USA season 2, I believe, there was somebody allegedly who did corn in the past. And I guess for some reason it got overlooked by production. This was back when the show was on CBS. And once the fans found out, he was gone. They were like, so-and-so is out of here by the end of the night. Right? And then they kick somebody off for smoking a doobie or whatever else on the show season 3 with Leslie. So they have no problem getting you up out of here if it's necessary. My question is, what y'all gonna do about Huda? What y'all gonna do about Huda and saying the N-word production? Because y'all can't kick out Yelisa, right? For her saying the N-word. Y'all can't kick out Sierra for her comments, the Asian slurs, and multiple stuff coming out. And then y'all still keeping Huda. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to keep the same energy. And then I'm gonna need y'all to keep the same energy about these white men, y'all. If these white men, it was okay for Austin to repost all this crazy stuff about his beliefs and anti-Haitian stuff and pro-Trump stuff and all this and all that. And do you know he had the audacity to answer a fan question talking about, I'm not racist because I got a tattoo of a black woman on my abdomen? No. No, that is the wrong answer. I got so triggered by that because I had a former boss before that pulled that same stunt. That was, he would like yell at me. He would leave me voicemails and like scream at me. And we tried to have like a mediated conversation. And he was like, oh, I'm not racist because I've got a relative. I got one of my siblings. They've got a kid that's black. So therefore, I'm not racist. Like same thing. I was triggered. I was triggered because I was like, what the Yonsei. But anyways, back to the show. Sierra's gone. Nick is in his grieving era, and but to me, it felt like in a way he was relieved. It did. For some reason, it felt like he was relieved. So we also get a conversation with Nick and Nicolandria fans, right? Rise up, because y'all are on some serious, I don't know what y'all got going on. I don't know if it is voodoo. I don't know if it is magic. I don't know if it's the secret, if it's the manifestation journal, if it is prayers, if it is hocus pocus. I don't know what y'all got going on. But, oh my gosh. Y'all really made this happen. Y'all made this happen. And I just couldn't help but wonder, y'all, because I don't see the same smoke for Huda saying the N-word. And I am just confused because I feel like if It was a situation where Huda was in a couple with Nicolas, that maybe y'all would go harder on Huda and her needing to be out of this villa. But I feel like it was because y'all are so all in on Nicolandria and everything else and all the opportunities that come with that, y'all had more smoke for Sierra's way. And I'm just like, Because I feel like it came and went with Huda saying the N-word, and literally black people are coming out saying, oh no, she didn't say it. Yeah, she did. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Anyways, Nicolas and Alandria have this conversation, y'all. She's like, anything you need me for, anything I can do for you, anything I can help you out, I can do this, I can do that, right? Let me cater to you. Like, that's what it was given, right? And so Nicolas was like, I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm gonna figure this out. You've always had my back. We're best friends till the end. Superstar high five handshake. So then Nicolas is so messy. He is so messy. Why did he ask Alandria, how she felt about the challenge in which they had to rank the Islanders, right? How did she feel about Clark and Taylor being in 10th place? And why? Why isn't that your boy, Nick? Nick, isn't that your boy? Isn't Taylor your boy? Isn't that your dog? He's up here dancing and got little nursery rhymes for you, and this is how you do them. But Landry started cracking up, and she was like, I'm not going to give you a PR answer. I enjoyed it. I loved it. And started laughing. She was like, listen, it is nothing personal against Clark. I like Clark. I think she's a nice lady. It looks like, obviously, Taylor chose the better match, and him and her are thriving. I just personally didn't like how he treated me, and that is how the vote should have been. Clark shouldn't have had to suffer the individual votes at the expense of that, was my issue, America. But nonetheless, they had a little bit of a key, right? So Shelly and Ace are like literally in bird's eye view, are literally like right across, looking at Nick and Alandria, and they are looking like Ace is like, listen, I've been knew this tea. I've been had this tea. I know that Nick has had a thing for Alandria for a very long time and all this and all that. And I predict that this is going to be nothing but a beautiful mixing of them being together and whatever that means for them. And Shelly's like, really? And I'm like, Shelly, girl. Because when Alandria came back from Casa Amor and said that her and Nicolas had that kiss, you smiled and showed all of your teeth. You had this big old cheesy grin on your face, and I wanted you to pull Alandria for a private chat right then and there so you could get the real tea on what it was, on how they really felt about each other, right? So then a text message comes in. Now, this is where editing's a little interesting, because a text message comes in and it's like, tonight's going to be a recoupling, right? Tonight's going to be a recoupling. Any man that's not selected is going to be vulnerable. And I was like, so does this mean that we're doing this again? We're going to save somebody? We're going to save somebody that's going to be single for a bombshell? Like, are we doing this again, production? So I was trying to figure out, like, when that text came in. Did that text come in before or after Sierra was removed? Before or after Sierra was escorted up out of that villa? I just need to know. So everybody's getting ready for the evening, and everybody looked really nice. I thought it was a very nice shot of Alandria, Shelly, and Clark all walking down the steps holding hands together. I thought they looked beautiful, right? Looked beautiful, glowing, beautiful to see the unity, the sisterhood, all the things, right? The irony of it all. And so then, there's more conversations that people are having, but the main conversation is Nick and Alandria have a conversation before the recoupling. And so he pulls her over to the docks. He's like holding her hands. He's like watching her step. He is, doing all these things and everything else. And they have a conversation. And the conversation is, and he's like wiping down, the seat area. And he's like, I just want to, again, this is before the recoupling. They're having a talk. He said, we really haven't had the time to really kind of explore this. And I was like, well, technically y'all did, and y'all shut it down. But Landria's like, I think we were tunnel vision. I think our judgments were clouded because I think we couldn't enjoy our experience for ourselves because you were all in on Sierra. I was still all in on Taylor. So I couldn't see what it was that we had. I said, but we always had been friends and everything else. And so Nick, the whole time, he's just smiling. He is just staring into Landria's soul and everything else. He is loving this conversation, y'all. And Leandra's like, like whatever happens, I really enjoyed this conversation, all of this, all that, right? So because it would have been Leandria picking between Zach and Nicolas for the recoupling. So then Ariana comes in, right? Ariana comes in and is like, get y'all behind to the fire pit. No, she didn't say that. she said, okay, can I have everyone gather to the fire pit, please? And so everybody got to the fire pit, right? So now we get to the recoupling. So Shelly goes first because Shelly and Ace now are the strongest couple. I'm going to need some of y'all to take out y'all hate boners and actually vote for what the show is about, which is Love Island, having a journey, having, all this and all that. But y'all are not going to listen to me. But I'm team Shelly and Alandria. So I'm going to continue to advocate for them. So nonetheless, Shelly gives this really nice speech to Ace about all that they've been through and how he makes her feel. And it's beautiful. It's really nice speech. Boom, right? So next, and I might be going a little bit out of order, but that is okay. So we had Clark and Taylor go next, right? So she, gives a recoupling speech as well. Also, I forgot to add during their date, they had a conversation about life on the outside and what that looks like. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all. I don't think Clark wants to be on the ranch. She's giving more so she wants to be like a wag, like live in a nice little mansion, wants to go shopping, like if they lived in LA or something, wants to go shopping on Rodeo Drive, wants to have all the nicest designer this and designer that. She wants a soft life. She's not trying to be working in the ranch, cleaning up horses doo-doo and doing all this other stuff. She's not about that life. At least that's what she's saying for now. So we'll see whether or not this progresses but beyond, a certain point in time after the show. I don't know. But anyway, she gives a little speech for Taylor and everything else. Taylor is like a different dude. He is, cutting his hair more often. He is really paying more attention to his appearance and making sure that he looks good and dresses up more for Clark. And it's just little things like that I noticed to where he did not care about Alandria like that. He only pulled out the clippers when Jalen showed up. He only pulled out the additional physical touch when Jalen showed up. But meanwhile, for Clark, he has made it a point to continue to really look his best self, really try to do more, really try to be more physical with physical touch and initiating more things. And it is night and day. I actually like them together. I just don't like how he did Alandria. So nonetheless, they have a cute little recoupling speech or whatever else. Huda goes and gives this speech about Chris or whatever else. I'm just not buying Chris. I think Chris is scamming. I forget what podcast he's on is the rationale that I'm going with. He's scamming. He's homeless. He does not have any points in the league, in the overseas league. He's just looking for a place to stay, y'all. He's looking for a place to stay, which is why I did not want him. Initially, I liked the sparks between him and Shelly, but after I found out dude was homeless, dude cannot play, and all this other stuff, I wasn't feeling it, right? So if him and Huda make it, kudos to them. So then we get to Iris, right? Iris gives a speech about Pepe, and I'm just not buying it. I am not buying it. Like I said, it's giving widows. It is giving widows, and let's see if we can try to scam to the 100K, right? And so that happens, right? So then we get to Alandria, and Alandria gives this speech that's like, I loved you from the moment I first saw you. And I was like, what? I was like, what the welly? Andre, what are we talking about here? I loved you since the moment I saw you. And I was like, okay. And yeah, then she chose Nicolas. And I saw his family immediately posted on TikTok that they are ecstatic, right? I think his sister posted, his mom is kicking her feet up in the air, his dad is working out on the bike and everything else. They are ecstatic that this has happened, that this moment has happened. Now, I will say they have been team Nicolandria since day one. Also, sidebar, you guys. Is Nick in cahoots with production? Because why is he talking about a couple name and a ship name, but he said Nicolandria and not Nicolandria? So, very interesting tidbit there. Also, we leave it with Maya Papaya. She's last to go on the list, y'all. And she has to choose somebody. She has to choose somebody for her couple. And so she has to choose between Ilan. She has to choose between Zach K, who has now all of a sudden woken up from his slumber and realized 100K is on the line, and also Brian. So she ends up choosing Brian, and the rest is history, right? And Ariana disappears up out of that. So then we see all of the girls, they gather around because they want to get Amaya's thoughts on her new couple with Brian. She's ecstatic, she's happy and everything else. Then they want to get the tea from Alandria on what is up with her and Nicolas. I thought this was interesting. It seemed like Alandria wanted to keep things close to the vest, but there was a TikToker, and her name is escaping me. She was a former producer, and not specifically Love Island, but on other dating shows in potentially the same production company that produces Love Island. But she made a comment that I found interesting. She felt that Nick and Alandria had been talking in the background for the past couple of days, and that production had given Sierra a warning the past couple of days that she was out the door. And she was no longer going to be on the show. However, since they are a couple of days ahead of us, they have to wrap up her storyline. And so they had the great argument in which they said that the reason that not this episode or the episode that aired on Friday, but the episode that aired on Thursday, where we did not see Sierra really at all, it was because they were editing her out of the show. But Friday's episode, they had to, wrap up her storyline. And so what we saw on Friday's episode, that was when we saw Nick chose Alandria for his wing woman, because I feel like they had been talking in the background that whole time, but I think they were maybe trying to minimize any potential backlash of it looking like Alandria is going behind Sierra's back or anything like that. So they cut out whatever interactions Nick and Alandria were having in between time so that they could wrap up the Sierra storyline and the Sierra component of it all, right? So that's why they still, since Sierra and Nick were still closed off, they still had them, do their challenge thing. And then I felt like that conversation that they had in Soul Ties, I felt that was the conclusion of their coupling, where Sierra is telling Nick, hey, what does, closed off mean on the outside? And she's trying to tell Nick, listen, it just means closed off in here, but on the outside world, it's not boyfriend, girlfriend, it's not any of this, but closed off just meaning you're not trying to get to know any other connections. But since that was Nick's main connection, once that's over, once that's broken off, it's no more. So shout out, if I find that person's TikTok, I will pin that in the comments so you Nick Alandria fans can check that out, and I might do a video on it as well, because I felt that her analysis was spot on as to why production didn't immediately remove Sierra. Was that they were a couple of days ahead of us from us seeing everything, so therefore they had to quickly, vet everything and then edit her out of the show and wrap up the storyline for continuity purposes, so that way it just didn't look like she just randomly was dumped, right? Yulisa was easier to edit out of the show because she was only there for a day. So there was no storyline to develop, but Sierra had been there, so there had been a storyline to develop. So it was nice to see the girls have an actual sisterhood that felt like episode 1, that felt like week 1 again, where everybody was getting along, nobody was arguing, nobody was fighting, everything else. So they all had a group hug. So then they end the show, y'all, with another Nicolandria scene. And I was like, this is who they're going to push. They're going to push to win this money. They're going to push to get this winner's edit come HELL or high water. So they have another conversation on the docks. Nick is being the ultimate gentleman, everything else, just wiping everything away. If there's dirt, if there is water, if there is rain, sleet, snow, or hail on the seat and everything else, just looking into Alandria's eyes. They're ecstatic of being a couple. They're talking about how they're going to put their all into this. They're going to give this their all. Well, I hope you better because this is the last week, right? So so they're going to give their all to this and see what this brings and everything else. But we'll see. We will see what happens and we will go from there. Will this work on the outside? I don't know, but I have a feeling whether it works or not, you guys, when Nicholas, and Alandria see how hard in the paint y'all been going on TikTok for them, I think they'll try a little bit longer, right? Because there is NFL teams, there's NBA teams, there is so many verified accounts that have been shipping Alandria even when it looked like Nick Alandria was no more. When it looked like it was down in the dumps for them to never, ever be a couple. They still were going hard and shipping these two. So nonetheless, we will see what happens. We will see if this can develop, once they get on the outside and really see how hard people have been shipping them, really see the fan edits from day one of how Nick has been crushing on Alandria. I feel like Nick is more into Alandria than Alandria is into Nick, but I feel like part of the reason Alandria's walls are still up because I feel like she put so much into Taylor. And I feel like she doesn't want to make that same mistake again. But I feel like you have to put something into Nick this last week if you want this 100K. So nonetheless, it can't be, hey, I'm a slow burn. We can't do anything. You need to sleep outside in soul ties and everything else. This is the last week. This is the week of love. This is the week of love. This is when they push the final dates. This is when they push the meet the families. This is when they push the Mr. and Mrs. to see how well y'all know each other and everything else. So it is all about love this week and not the drama, right? So, and y'all gotta be on y'all P's and Q's so y'all don't get voted out. But I don't think they're gonna be in danger because, like I said, Nick and Ace and Taylor are locked in as an alliance. So I feel like if one of them only ends up in the bottom, which is just like a situation if it's just like Taylor and Clark that potentially is in the bottom, I feel like they'll get saved. I feel like they'll get saved because they envision themselves as like the Three Musketeers, as the Three Stooges, right? But it's a danger zone if 2 out of the 3 of them are in the bottom. I feel like that's a disaster for them. So nonetheless, we will see what happens there. But that is it. That is all for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.